Happy Halloween, everyone. Today we're going to be working on chapter 7.2. The question is find the exact value of 195 degrees. So the first thing we want to do is list all the angles with known function values. List all the angles with known function values. And by this I mean values that could add up or subtract to 195. So we are going to use these multiples, 30, 60, 90, angles that we've already used before. 150. So as you can see, this top one is going up by 30, and the other ones are 45, 90, 135, and 180. So from all of these, again, we're going to see what adds up to 195 or subtracts to 195. I'm gonna be using the sum difference identity to add or subtract the multiples that equal to 185. So that would be, I'm gonna choose 150 and 45. Both of these angles equal to 195. So I'm gonna write this down here. 150 degrees plus 45 degrees equals 195 degrees. So the format I'm going to use is this one: sine A plus or minus B equals sine A cosine B plus or minus cosine A and sine B. So we're gonna plug in these numbers into this right here. So that would look like sine 195 degrees equals sine 150 degrees plus 45 degrees. Now that we know the numbers we're going to be using, we're going to see which triangle we're going to use. And the reason why we need to find out which triangle we're using is because we have to find the sine of these numbers, the sine and cosine. So how we could do that is by subtracting 180 and 150. So we subtract 180 and 150, that equals to 30 degrees. So now that we know this equals to 30 degrees, we're going to use the 30, 60, 90 triangle. And from here, we're going to use 1 here. The hypotenuse is always going to be the 2, and then the square root 3 on this side. And this is our 90, this is our 30, and 60. So since we're looking for the sine, we know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, and we know that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, so now if we want to find, let's say, sine of the 30, like we said, is opposite over hypotenuse. So we see that the opposite of 30 is 1. So sine equals 1 over the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is 2. And then with the cosine is the adjacent. We see that the adjacent of 30 is square root 3, and the hypotenuse is 2. So now that we know our sine and cosine, we're going to plug in the values to this format right here. So we have sine of 150 degrees plus 45 degrees equals sine of 150 degrees cosine 45 degrees plus, we're using, I know here we have plus or minus, but because we use addition to get to the 195, that's why we're doing addition down here. So plus cosine 150 degrees and sine 45 degrees. So the reason why we have it like this is because, again, we're plugging it into this format, and then from there, now that we've plugged it in, we're going to do this. So sine of 150 equals to half, right? We've already said sine is half. So we're multiplying, since they're next to each other, that means multiplication. So we're doing the half times the cosine of 45. Again, we know that the cosine is square root, the cosine of 45 is different. Cosine is gonna be square root 2 plus square root 3, 2 times the square root half. And this all I got from this. So because this right here, we cannot have the square root on the bottom, we're going to rationalize it. And how we do that is by multiplying the square root 2 on top and the bottom. So that would equal to square root 2 over 2. So now we don't have a square root at the bottom. So that's how we rationalize it. Plus, actually this was supposed to be a negative. Square root 3 over 2 times square root 2 over 2. So when we do the math here, we're going to be left with square root 2 over 4 minus square root 6 over 4. They have a common denominator, so we're just gonna put the numerator on top of the common denominator. So that would be square root 2 minus square root 6 over 4. So that's gonna be our answer.